Welcome back. As we promised in our intro, we are going to cover the Egyptian EU summit, which took place yesterday, and the strategic partnership between the two sides, which Ursula von der Leyen, the EU chief, said it's the culmination of more than 30 years of relations between the two sides. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Ayman Mousharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
Good morning to you and the audience.
Thank you, sir. Before going into the details, I'd like to focus on what I've just said. One of the statements which were released by Ursula von der Leyen yesterday. The strategic comprehensive partnership between Egypt and EU is the culmination of more than 30 years of good or excellent, to be accurate, relations between the two sides. How do you see this statement by von der Leyen?
Actually, really, it's a big milestone, the EU-Egyptian relation. This summit marks the 20th anniversary of the signing of the partnership treaty between Egypt and the EU. And through these 20 years, Egypt and the EU have a really important relation in all fields.
Yeah.
This summit, which gathered six head of state and prime ministers, really it's an important historical event which culminates and tops the relation between Egypt and the EU. And it's the signing of the treaty of the upgrading the partnership to a strategic level is giving a sign that the EU is pricing the role of Egypt internationally and regionally regarding the challenge that all the area is passing. Really, I see the partnership agreement, it has three most important components. First, the political component, which is very important. They agreed to hold similar summits each 2 years with the same level and the continuing of the political dialogue. And in the same time, the European Union and all the leaders in their speeches during the meeting have really expressed their support and their gratefulness to Egypt due to the important effort that Egypt is deploying to ease the humanitarian suffering in Gaza, and the role of Egypt in brokering a ceasefire and to stop hostility.
Amen to that, sir. And I was going to ask especially about mentioning Gaza in all the meetings, whether the EU summit, which was presided by our head of state and the EU Commission, or on the sidelines of the committee. Of course, the President had talks with each of our top visitors who came yesterday, whether it's the Austrian Chancellor, the Cypriot President, the Italian Prime Minister, or the Greek Prime Minister, you name it. Mentioning Gaza in every occasion when the President meets, or even in phone talks, saying or reiterating or highlighting all the time the Egyptian relentless efforts to be accurate to support the Palestinians, whether on the diplomatic front or on, as you've kindly mentioned, ensuring the entry of aid to the Gaza Strip. How do you see focusing on that in all occasions, and particularly in the summit of yesterday?
You know, as I said before, from the outset of the crisis in October, in all multilateral forums and bilateral forums, the President emphasized the Egyptian position, which is reaching a ceasefire, not a momentary ceasefire, but a permanent ceasefire, reducing the humanitarian crisis, and in the same time finding a way, a sustainable way to send aid to the Palestinians inside the territory through a sustainable corridor, uh, and at the same time, and the most important thing, the president was always emphasizing the need to start a process, a peace process between Israel and the Palestinians, which will lead to establish a Palestinian state in the border of 1967, according to the 242 and 338 resolution, with its capital at Jerusalem, and Palestine will be a full member in the United Nations. And in the same time, to add that the president cautioned against any Israeli attack against Rafah, because it will double or triple the suffering of the Palestinians, and it will cause tremendous damage in human loss. You have 1 million packed in a very small and dense area. So the president cautioned against it, and really most of the leaders have supported the call of the president and the caution of the president. Even some leaders have expressed that the situation in Gaza and Rafah is unacceptable. So that's the Egypt's position from the outset of the crisis. And Egypt hosted several negotiations in Cairo to try to broker and to have a lasting peace or a ceasefire and exchange of prisoners.
The Egyptian-EU partnership encompasses 6 key priorities, Ambassador Mousharafa. And among those 3 is migration and mobility, enhancing cooperation on migration management, combating human trafficking, strengthening border controls, addressing illegal migration's root causes, and facilitating legal migration. How do you see focusing on legal migration and evaluating the Egyptian role in this war? Because this is a real war which requires full coordination between the north and the south of the Mediterranean. Hello?
Yes, I do agree that illegal immigration was always a point of importance in any bilateral talk with the European Union or multilateral talks between Egypt and most of the countries. Because Egypt is the soft belly of the Mediterranean, and the geographical position of Egypt creates a pull factor for illegal immigration. Egypt hosts around 9 million immigrants, which are having access to social services, medical services, and which consists a burden on the Egyptian economy. So even illegal migration is very, very, very important and a stress point on the Egyptian economy. That's why the European Union is considering the cooperation in illegal migration is an integral part of the Egyptian-European cooperation, and they have earmarked $20 million as aid to this sector, and which, I mean, consists of border control, consists of dealing with illegal immigrants, providing and enhancing social services to them. I do consider that Egypt is the biggest recipient of illegal immigration due to our geographical position as a gate from Africa to
particularly Africa, because and also the European Union knows well that Egypt is their gate to Africa. Sir, regarding or tackling another issue, which is the Russian-Ukrainian war and its negative repercussions on the global economy and particularly on food security worldwide, the supply chain issue, the energy prices, you name it. To have a hand or to support Egypt to turn into the food basket due to its location in light of the unfortunate and ongoing Ukrainian-Russian war, this was another topic of discussion. How do you see it, sir?
The Ukrainian-Russian war, Egypt has a neutral position, and even the Egyptian diplomacy have traveled several times with an Arab mediation to try to find a solution between Ukraine and Russia to mediate between them or to find a common ground. But actually, up to the mediation stalled. Not only the Arab mediation, most of the mediation have failed. And of course, the Ukrainian-Russian war have affected our economy. Considered we are the biggest importer of oil and grain and food from Russia and Ukraine, and it slowed down the shipment, which had a very, very negative effect on the Egyptian and most of the net food importers like the African countries. So, in the beginning, the Egyptian diplomacy took a very good approach or a neutral approach to the crisis, hoping that the war in action would find a solution and a lasting peace for both sides.
Yes, sir. And also the security file was discussed in yesterday's summit, and fighting terrorism and extremism topped, of course, the agenda of these security talks. It's a vicious circle. Whenever there is insecurity, people are going to try to immigrate, even if it is illegal migration. And this is going to affect negatively the economy of the European countries, which receives, unfortunately, thousands of illegal migrants. So to cut this vicious circle, it is to try to boost the economy of those countries and to coordinate efforts together to fight terrorism, to enjoy stability and security there. This is another topic. How do you see those two topics are related together, and the memoranda of understanding which were signed in this regard in specific?
The memorandum of understanding is one of the biggest memoranda of understanding signed by the two parties. The amount of the memorandum is 7.4 billion euro payable in 4 years. It consists of 6 areas of interest for both countries, for both parties. First of all, of course, is illegal immigration. Second, is security. Second, to bolster the sector of renewable energy and green hydrogen. And they want to create Egypt as a hub of exporting gas to Europe through the new organization of the East Mediterranean Gas Conference. And in the same time, you have technical cooperation memorandum, which we signed with Italy, for instance, which is an important memorandum in building capacity in those sectors. And the other sector too is water security. Water security is very important, and the European Union emphasized that water security for Egypt is very important, and aspects of the water inflow to Egypt, and the water inflow should be according to international law and water distributing instrument. And in the same time, the European Union hailed the effort of Egypt in water conservation efforts. And you have many points of importance and points of cooperation in this very big memorandum, which is a milestone of the cooperation between Egypt and the European Union, and we hope it will continue.
One of the milestones or the pillars, sir, is to continue with the EU's financing small, micro, and macro projects. And this is to achieve another strategic partnership between the public and private sector, and to make sure that our SMEs are not going only to enjoy financial service, but financial and non-financial services, whether by the pan-European body or by the state, by the Egyptian state. How do you see this, sir?
Von der Leyen have hailed and applauded the Egyptian reform measures that took from the flotation of the Egyptian pound to the combating of inflation, to other measures that the government has, aggressive measures actually that the government took to do political reforms to make the Egyptian economy more appealing and more attractive to foreign investors. It's one of them, one of the important pillars, the cooperation in macroeconomy and small enterprise, which is a cornerstone of industrial and economic reforms in most of the third world countries. So I do feel that this memorandum of understanding would yield with very fruitful results in the future on the Egyptian market, and it will bolster the most of the imports and most of the export to the European market.
It will really benefit both sides, will serve both interests. It's a win-win situation, if we can call it this way. Well, Ambassador Ayman Mousharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for your input, sir. Have a very good day and happy Ramadan. Ramadan Kareem. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.